looking at maybe some firsts coming up in the '08 elections, and here to talk about that and what's shaping up to be quite an interesting campaign in the next couple of years is political guru Dick Morris. Dick, how are you?
Good, good. I'm very happy to be here,
Well, I'm
fella.
glad to have you.
Good to be on your show. By
So,
the way, if folks are interested in getting my columns, I write 3 or 4 a week. You could just need to go to dickmorris.com and sign up, and I'll send them to you for free each morning.
wow, that's cool. So you write you write 3 or 4 of these things a week. That's a lot of work,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, we write one for The Hill, one for the New York Post, one for Fox News, and then monthly columns for 2 other magazines.
So here we are looking at Barack Obama now coming on the scene, and to me, he, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to vote for the guy, but as far as likability, he seems to take the steam out of Hillary Clinton's engine. Is that what you're seeing?
Well, it's not hard to beat Hillary on the likability index.
No kidding.
That's kind of a default, But I think that Hillary's problem, on one level, is that she's lost the title of the only woman to Nancy Pelosi, and she's lost the title of the most attractive first to Barack Obama.
Right.
And as a result, a lot of the bloom is off her rose. In a political sense, a positioning sense, I think Bush has thrown her a tremendous curveball by the troop increase in Iraq. Because what's going to happen is the House and the Senate will happily vote for a resolution saying we shouldn't do it. Then Bush will happily say, thanks for your advice, I'm sending him anyway.
Right.
Then the liberals in Congress, like Kennedy and Feingold of Wisconsin, will introduce a resolution cutting off the funding for the troop surge.
You think they will?
Yes. And then I think Hillary will vote against that resolution to cut off the funding. And the polling shows that by 58 to 33, Democrats want all funding cut off for Iraq,
Right.
not just the troop surge funding. Probably if you just did the surge, it would be in the 70s. So what's going to happen is that archaic vote that was cast in '02 about going to war or not, that everybody's trying to apologize for, no longer will matter. What will matter is the '07 vote on cutting off funding. And by voting against it, Hillary opts for the role of Joe Lieberman, while Edwards opts for the role of Ned Lamont, and we all know how that primary turned out.
Right.
You don't run to the right in a Democratic primary and stay alive. So that's a big problem Hillary and Obama both have. Now, Edwards doesn't have the problem. He doesn't have to vote. He's out of the Senate. He can just make a speech and say, I would have voted no. But Obama and Hillary have to vote, and my bet is that both of them vote against the cutoff of funds.
But here's
my bet is that really helps Edwards and makes it a tight 3-way race.
Yeah, but they're all going to be blown out of the water if, in fact, this troop surge, or what I like to call reinforcements instead of a surge. I've always thought the surge was kind of a negative. So we're sending reinforcements to Baghdad, where 80% of the sectarian violence is happening within the 30-mile radius of Baghdad, as the president told us. So if, in fact, this works, if we're able to go in these neighborhoods, secure the neighborhoods, run the terrorists out, and then leave troops behind to make sure they don't come back, if in fact we're not seeing the casualties that we've been seeing over the last 3 years, aren't they all in trouble?
No, because it'll all be interpreted for us and filtered for us by the liberal media.
Ah, well, how are they going to spin that one, though? I mean, if we're actually winning over there.
Because somewhere, someplace, some lonely suicide bomber in Iraq is going to set off a bomb, and it's going to kill 13 people, and it's not going to be in one of the neighborhoods we were in, or it'll be in one of the cities we're not in. And the violence in Iraq could abate entirely, and you'll read about it on page A34, and that one little bomb will be on page A13.
Right.
You asked me, though, about the Democratic field, and let's stay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the problem is that while Hillary is clearly ahead and has a huge financial edge, I think there is no longer the feeling of inevitability to her candidacy, although I think she's probably the most likely winner of the three, because she's getting on the wrong side for a Democratic primary of the anti-war vote. Now, as far as Bush is concerned, I think there's a pretty easy way for him to get back in this game and raise his popularity to a point where he can be effective. And that is to warn the American people about the danger we face with Iran, not Iraq, Iran. Because, listen, when you compare the horrible sight of 40 or 50 or 60 of our brave young men and women dying each month with the idea of a nuclear bomb that wipes us out, that's a whole different story.
Which is what Ahmadinejad has said. He wants to wipe out Israel and wipe out the United States.
Exactly. And he doesn't even have to hit the United States to hurt us. He could explode it in midair over in outer space, and the electromagnetic pulse would paralyze our utilities, all computers, all of our operating systems, and our GDP would drop to zero for a couple of weeks or months.
That'd be a heck of a no. Well, let's talk about, you probably read the Insight magazine thing about they're accusing Hillary of digging up dirt, or at least their sources are saying.
Yeah.
She's digging up dirt against Barack Obama, saying that he went to a madrasa, which actually was a public school. Is this something that you think she's actually doing? And if she is doing it, will it stick?
Absolutely. The big point of departure I always had with Hillary was her routine use of private detectives to dig up dirt on political opponents, political critics, and also, by the way, women who her husband had been involved with, not to divorce him, not to reform him, just to blackmail the women into silence.
So they shut up.
And so they shut up. And I think that that's exactly what she's doing to Obama. And, you know, she never releases the information herself. She has this goody two-shoes, butter wouldn't melt in her mouth affect. Oh, Phil, it's so nice to talk to you. But in fact, what she does is she sends her detectives all over the world on these missions. And I think and everybody has to realize that no news organization has the budget to do this. The New York Times can't just send somebody to Indonesia to dig into Obama's background. Now, if it became a big national issue and it was a huge deal, they might make a major commitment of resources later on in the game and do that. But Hillary can do it anytime she wants. She's got a campaign fund of $40 million coming out of the last election. And she can do whatever she likes, and she can fund that immediately. And I think that what you're going to see now is a stream of negative material about Obama, all generated by Hillary's operation.
Right, but it's going to be secondhand, so it doesn't touch her. Let me ask you one final question. I ask you just sort of a two-part. You were big with your book, Hillary versus Condi, on Condi Rice jumping into this. I agree with you on that. I think she'd be a great candidate, at least what we know of her. Is it too late for her to get in? Do you think she's?
No,
do you still hope she's going to do it?
It's not too late, but I get the feeling she's not going to do it. But I'll tell you how I think it's going to play out, Phil. I think that Hillary may win the Democratic primary. And in the course of doing it, she will alienate the black population because she will defeat their boy, Obama.
Right.
And what that then means is that to get the African-American vote back, Hillary may have to put Obama on the ticket for vice president.
Mm-hmm.
And even the morons that run the Republican Party are going to figure that if you're opposing a woman and a black, you might want to put a black woman on your ticket for vice president.
So they would draft her then?
Hillary, with Condi as VP.
Right.
And then conceivably in the future, possibly in a scary situation, if Hillary, for heaven's sake, wins and in 2012 goes for re-election, Condi, having run for VP in 2008, could well be the Republican nominee in 12.
Well, but who are the Republicans going to put at the top of the ticket, though?
Well, that's the problem. Right now, McCain is the front runner, and I do not believe he can win this nomination. He voted against the Bush tax cuts. He voted to give illegal aliens Social Security. He voted for amnesty for illegal aliens. He's voted for the so-called campaign finance reform bill. He voted to handcuff our investigators questioning terror suspects. I don't think he can win the nomination. And Romney is his chief opponent, but I don't think Romney can be the right-wing candidate. I don't think that they like his religious beliefs. I don't think they like that he was pro-choice on abortion while he was governor of Massachusetts, that he was for gay marriage while he was governor of Massachusetts, and they don't like the flip-flops. So I think that, and I don't think Rudy Giuliani is ultimately going to run, nor do I think Gingrich will ultimately run. So I think that there is a real open field here of a lot of the second-tier Republican candidates, like Tommy Thompson of Wisconsin, Mike Huckabee of Arkansas, Sam Brownback of Kansas, Gilmore of Virginia, Tancredo of Colorado, Hunter of California, some of these basically unknown names that have pretty good conservative credentials. One of them, I think, will emerge as the opponent of McCain, elbowing Romney aside and very possibly defeating McCain. My own personal bet is Mike Huckabee, the governor of Arkansas, who is a Baptist minister, and except for the fact that he comes from Arkansas, he's the guy that lost 100 pounds.
Right, yeah, I know him.
And he's a very exciting guy. But, you know, it could be any of them.
Interesting. All right, Dick Morris. It's dickmorris.com. You can get all this wisdom right there and have it sent to your email box every day.
To your door.
That's right.
Sleep.